The mystery of what happened to 38-year-old British woman Elizabeth Jane Ross has now been revealed, and her fate replicates a phenomenon we've seen time and time again. Elizabeth disappeared after telling her family she was visiting American friends in Greece. Authorities now believe this was a false story so as not to cause concern, and that Ross had actually gone to stay in an apartment in Athens, which was a base for NGO volunteers. She dedicated much of her adult life to doing NGO work to help Middle Eastern refugees and migrants, often travelling alone, and witnesses saw her talking to homeless migrants on the street shortly before her disappearance. The alarm was raised when Elizabeth went missing, but then family members became perplexed at strange text messages Ross then apparently began sending from her phone.
Has revealed he received haunting text messages from his daughter's phone, which read, "I need some quiet time. I want to be alone."
Her loved one said the messages were out of character and didn't match her typical conversation style, and that's because the messages, despite being sent from her phone, were not being sent by Elizabeth. They were being sent by her killer, to create the false impression that Elizabeth was still alive. Facebook posts on Elizabeth's account also apparently revealed her intention to travel to Turkey, but again, she wasn't responsible for the posts. The messages stopped, the phone was switched off, and then a homeless man made a grim discovery. A bad smell coming from a suitcase that was left in an abandoned building, a limb protruding from the suitcase. Police initially suspected the homeless man to be the culprit, but the investigation took a new turn when it emerged that large sums of money had been withdrawn from Elizabeth's bank account in the days after her disappearance. €12,000 in total, the daily maximum allowed limit every day. This allowed police to scour CCTV surveillance footage linking the man who made the withdrawals with the same man seen on camera leaving the apartment building carrying a large suitcase. His route ended at the abandoned complex where 2 days later Ross's body would be found. A few minutes after arriving at the scene, he appears to be leaving without the suitcase. Eyewitnesses also revealed they heard screams from the NGO apartment where Elizabeth was staying. The authorities now had their prime suspect. They tracked him down to a remote mountain village, and lo and behold, upon his arrest, the alleged killer was revealed to be a 26-year-old Afghan migrant. Someone who had visited the apartment regularly as a cleaner with his partner, likely knew Elizabeth and was likely helped by her as part of her NGO work. The suspect initially denied being responsible, ludicrously claiming he'd just found the body in a suitcase. A story that quickly fell apart when police revealed his fingerprints were on both the original suitcase and a second suitcase he transferred her body to. The suspect's partner also gave phone location information to the police, showing the Afghan had been present at the NGO apartment at the same time Elizabeth was staying there. After police found weapons at his home, the Afghan eventually confessed to the killing. The cause of death, asphyxiation. The motive, aside from the money, the 26-year-old Afghan perpetrator allegedly claimed that he murdered the woman because he believed that the victim wanted to make his partner a Christian, and that she kept talking about her Christian beliefs. Yeah. Apparently that was enough for him to end Elizabeth's life and stuff her body in a suitcase. It's also being reported that Elizabeth had previously visited her killer and his partner's home in Karatsini. Police say her killer was likely someone who knew her, meaning she'd likely tried to help the Afghan in some way through her refugee volunteer work. The killer was linked to Ross through her volunteer work with refugees.
He is believed to have met the 38-year-old through her work helping refugees.
Yep. It happened again. Elizabeth had worked for the One Heart Charitable Foundation in Athens, which provides assistance to refugees in Greece, specifically by trying to help them integrate into society. One Heart also provides medical support to refugees, particularly those from Iran and Afghanistan. She devoted much of her adult life to travelling the world to make refugees feel welcome. She likely tried to help the Afghan man settle in Europe, despite him having a reputation for being violent towards women, tried to comfort and guide him by sharing her Christian beliefs, and he responded by doing the worst thing imaginable to her. A WhatsApp exchange reportedly involving one of the Greek police officers investigating the case shows someone asking him, "When will these women learn?" He responds, "Yes, this is true. I hope this will be a lesson." Sounds harsh, and of course the only person to blame is the monster responsible for this atrocious act, but it's kind of becoming a reoccurring pattern, isn't it? Only weeks ago, American woman Jamie Carney was found dead in her home in Ireland, another victim of suffocation. Carney had took part in left-wing pro-migrant demonstrations. Her killer, a Jordanian asylum seeker who shouldn't even have been in the country, who Carney likely met at those protests. Now we learn of another similarity between Ross and Carney. Before she was killed, Carney inherited a large amount of money from her father, which is likely why the illegal migrant had been demanding money from Carney in the days before her death. Western white liberal women with the best of intentions, embroiling themselves in altruistic pursuits to try to help dangerous men from Africa and the Middle East. And this is the thanks they get. Some might call it a microcosm of the self-destructive, unchecked empathy that's plagued the West in general.